Hi and welcome amazing people. I'm thrilled to kick off this brand new series with all of you. This time we're diving into some of the best tips, tricks and shortcuts that I've relied on throughout my career as an iOS developer. This series will be broken into parts, each focusing on a specific tip designed to boost your workflow and productivity. Whether you're a complete beginner, just getting familiar with Xcode and its capabilities, or a more experienced developer who's never explored ways to speed up your workflow, this series has something for you. And moreover, I strongly believe this journey will be both fun and valuable. And here's something exciting. I'm trying something a little different for this series. Stick around until the end of the video to find out how you could even be featured in one of the upcoming episodes. Now for the first part of this series, I want to show you one of my all-time favorite shortcuts in Xcode. This tip is incredibly handy when working with legacy code or dealing with functions that are difficult to follow because of multiple clutter arguments. It's a small trick, but it can make a huge difference in readability and organization, so let's dive in. We won't be writing a lot of code in these videos, so for that I prepared a little repository. If you go to the link in the description, you can see I created here the Xcode Tips and Tricks repository, and under the snippets code to copy, we have the first part. If we expand this, you have all the code that is not currently formatted, and that shortcut that we just talked about is not applied to this code. So you can just copy this file, paste it in your Xcode locally, and try out this shortcut that I will show you. So going back to Xcode, we have a task item, and we have a class called Task Manager. This Task Manager will basically do some CRUD operations on an array of task items. Okay, so let's copy the first part of this class. It's gonna be the variable and an add function. Copy, paste it here, and there we have it. A simple function that has a title, description, due date, and priority in its arguments. It will receive these arguments from outside, create a task item, and append it to this array right here. You might say it looks fine, why change anything? Well, it might seem okay at first glance, but what if other parts of the IDE are larger? Or you're working with multiple functions in a huge class? That's when things start to get messy and harder to follow, often leading to truncated or cluttered views. Let's say we make this file explorer larger, and we can see how our arguments of the functions are getting on the new line. And for a new developer coming to our code, or even you after some months, it's gonna be hard for you to follow. Even so, if you make this one larger, and you can see where this is going. So in order to make this function a little bit clearer to read, just put your cursor here after the rounded brackets, hold Ctrl and the letter M. It's really clear to see, each argument is on its specific line, and it's really easy to follow. We can also do that to a struct initializer right here. Hold Ctrl M and look how nice it looks. Now let's go ahead and copy the next function, which is update task item. Again, you can see here that it has been formatted to be on two lines, but it's still not clear to read. Again, you can put your cursor here, hold Ctrl M, and each argument of this function will go on a separate line. Put your cursor right here, hit Ctrl M, and everything is sorted out. But what I would recommend for functions that have only one argument, like function test int argument of type int, and that will return something boolean. In this case, I wouldn't split the function, right? Like usually the guidelines are that if you have only one argument to the function, leave it as it is. The only time that I will go into that splitting mode is if I would have more than two arguments. And perhaps there are multiple situations where you can apply this shortcut. But one more that comes to mind is when you deal with larger arrays. Let's say we have a private static var string array of type string, and we have 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Let's duplicate this part and see where it gets messy. And for this case, I think you also can apply the same shortcut. So put your cursor right at the start of this array. Again, hold Ctrl and M, and it should split the array on a separate line, which is really easier to read. And that wraps up this part of the series. Now here's how you can be featured in the next video. Simply comment your favorite shortcut in Xcode, or a simple trick that you found valuable but isn't widely talked about. I'll make sure to showcase your comment and give you credit for the idea in upcoming episodes. Until next time, happy scribbling!